facility. Lunar Bowl. We're just about 20 minutes or so from downtown Kansas City. As we said, lefties get it going. Little split on lane 23 for Horan.
Sounded like the ball bounced as it entered the heads, the front part of the lane, and this ball just overhooks in the back end. And not a very good break to start the match for Dennis Horan.
45th on the tour last year in terms of average, 212.50. Did not make a TV appearance all of last season. Now the split, and he'll leave the 6-10 early. Exactly the opposite of what he wanted to have happen to begin his day.
Yeah, and you know, that's kind of a tough split, because if you go for it and you miss the 2-pin, you get 7. So sometimes, you know, you wonder, well, should I go for it or should I just try to get the count and go for the 6-10?
That's Chris Barnes. Came into the right of the head pin there. Another split to deal with. There's the 10 all the way over on the right side of the deck.
2-4-8-10 for Chris Barnes. And in their match last night, it was split central. 9 splits total, only one of them made by Chris Barnes. And this was the only one that he made.
Barnes won that match in the best of 7 games. And he chips out the 10, beautifully done on a split. What a mark, Chris Barnes.
Covered it perfectly, Dave. You got to get the ball to hook right of the 2-pin. It throws the 2 and the 8 into the 10. Softer speed, big hand, and a conversion.
What a start. And you know the momentum has drastically swung so early in this wild card match. In the pocket. A solid 10-pin for Barnes. He wanted that one, certainly. Baby Ruth's real deal matchup, Randy. We see games bowled so far by the two. The averages are very close.
And the one thing that really stands out is a 4-pin, almost a 5-pin a game average. Chris Barnes' favorite.
Square ball, 10-pin. Picks up his mark. His wife Linda and the twin boys, Ryan, Phillip, Troy, Christopher, are in the center. They're not really watching closely because they're just very young. You see the wild card numbers and the highest qualifying pinfall through the 18 games of qualifying. So he really threatens to go in that channel left. Hustle back to the pocket. But he knew coming into the round of 8 that he would be in the wild card because of his high qualifying numbers.
And Dennis Horan's just happy that this ball stayed on the lane surface. Wow. That was way left. Fortunate to only leave the 3-pin.
See the numbers. He'll gladly take that. We're on oil pattern D, as Randy will break down coming up in a few moments. We'll see the early score in our wild card match. Greater KC Classic. For the most part, the bowlers tell us the straight line is better on this pattern. One reason Norm Duke had such success this week.
Yeah, I agree. And Dennis Horan just switched bowling balls looking for something different.
Come on, ball! Certainly a better ball in the pocket, but the 10-pin stands.
Dennis told me that he was using really strong equipment, high friction equipment, and he was just basically taking the hit out, letting the ball do all the work, keeping his hand underneath it, so he could control the directional change down the lane.
A lot of work on his game. Top finish last year, 6th place in Orlando. Just missed making the show. Barnes a 12-7 record overall in match play. 218, 9-7 average. There is match wins this week. Did go 7 games, the max. All match play now. 32 to a round of 8, his best of 7. Another 10-pin, Chris Barnes.
Big swinging 10 right there. The 6 just wraps around it. You want to be a professional and be successful on our tour, make your spares. 1 missed single pin conversion this week. Out of our 5 guys.
Lane will have a look at it, and Barnes finishes out the mark, but still 3 frames is Randy. Unusual to get this far into any match on TV. It's live coverage of the PBA Tour from Lunar Bowl, Blue Springs, Missouri. We're outside Kansas City, and Barnes an 11-pin lead, works on a spare.
Chris Barnes was just asking for a re-rack, but that has to be your first order of business once you come off the lane or when you step up to the ball return.
Another 10-pin. Hard to believe this string of solid 10-pins that Barnes has had.
Well, he left two vicious ringing 10s. This is going to be a flat 10. Watch the 6-pin, second to the right, next to the 10. It's going to go to the sidewall and just lay there.
It tapped it. Not enough to knock it down. And with the spare ball, Barnes takes care of that piece. His goal is to be named the PBA Player of the Year, and he did just about everything last year except surpass Walter Ray Williams Jr. Great season for Barnes, making all those shows. 5. We had a 6-4 record and 1 in Dallas.
Yeah, well, if Walter Ray didn't bowl last year, Chris was probably a lock for Player of the Year, but
was he ever?
Nobody was going to touch Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Back to the lefty. Had to really hustle in to the pocket and not enough.
Want you to show something very unique. Dennis Horan does not look at a target on the floor. He doesn't look at arrows or dots. He actually picks the reflection of the pins down the lane. Somewhere around the 7-pin, maybe 5 to 10 feet in front of it. And he adjusts his feet accordingly.
Couldn't cover the 7-pin there, and a second open frame for Dennis Horan. That may prove to be fatal here against the proficient Chris Barnes.
You know, the reason why Dennis does that, he told me that it helps him to get through each and every shot clean. He doesn't grab the ball at the bottom. It helps him to extend to his target, has the hand and the arm going into the direction he wants the ball to go in.